What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to this episode of the Road to Redemption podcast. I'm, as always, your host, Cam Williamson. So excited to be here with you today. We've had amazing feedback on our last episode being the Divine Masculine Awakening. It's done great on TikTok. You guys have shared it so much over there that people are coming over to the YouTube channel and checking out the full episode. So thank you all. I love you all who have found that and resonate with that message. It means a lot to me. And we're going to continue on with the message. As any message that gains any type of traction, as any movement or journey that gains any type of mass recognition, will come doubters or will come naysayers, right? So when I say things like the divine masculine is awakening in men, now given the end of the title was to end toxic masculinity, people automatically look, well, where is this person being toxic? It's in us. Something about maybe the times we live in, 2021, coronavirus, pandemic, freaking, presidential election times that we just feel the need to fight, to poke and find holes, cancel culture, and I got you at your worst moment and I exposed it so you can never be at your best again. Okay. How do we balance our energies? How do we balance ourselves? And this is what I kept telling to everyone who tried to misunderstand or tried to misrepresent what was being said in the message and what's being realized by such a large group of people, which is the divine masculine is not a man. It doesn't look like a man. It doesn't look one way. The divine feminine is not a woman. It doesn't look one way. It's an energy source. It's something that flows through a person, that goes through this human experience, right? We're made up of a bunch of molecules and a bunch of cells that react mainly off of energy transfers. Energy can never be created nor destroyed, only what? Transferred. So, we at all times, whether you're a man looking at a woman looking at a man, a woman looking at a woman, or a man looking at a man, or any variation that you can identify with, do that. Strip away, and this should resonate with every community, whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, in the LGBTQ trans community, any of these you should be able to identify with. Anti-racism movements, any movement that you're a part of, you should be able to identify with this message. When you encounter any being, let's not even be as shallow as to say human being. When you encounter any being, right? Whether it be a bee, a snake, a human, whatever. Recognize the energy being transferred. You know that moment where you see somebody, something, and you go, that's dangerous to me. I don't know why, but I feel it deep within me on a primal level. That's dangerous. Or I can trust that. Okay? We have to start there. Safety. Safety comes before everything else. In this spiritual community, in the divine feminine, in the divine masculine, there's a lot of bullshit artists. There's a lot of people that want to say, look into my eyes, draw you in with, soul connection and be a part of this soul tribe. And then they say, well, stay a part of this soul tribe by buying my readings at $29.99 for whatever. No. Just realize where we are in this mass awakening. Everyone is realizing what's going on. There's going to be a lot of people that try to take advantage of it. But what it truly is an awareness on a global scale that men cannot operate by suppressing their feelings, turning to alcohol, inappropriate relationships, and any other vice you can imagine to deal with pain, traumas, and unresolved feelings. And women cannot, I don't know. I'm a man, and I'm going to be real with you. I can't really speak about a woman's experience. I try really hard not to. But I grew up around a lot of women, and what I can tell you, where the feminine wounds tend to come in is when they feel betrayed by their fathers. And this is just my observation. I'm not projecting anything on anyone's specific situation. You have a toxic relationship with your father that looks one way. And it doesn't always look one singular way. I'm saying in each person's life, if you have issues with your father, that's going to look one way to you. If you or have relationship issues with your mother, that's going to cause another set of issues for you. Now, what those issues may look like to me and what those may look like to you, whether you have one or both of those, going to express themselves in a whole different panel of ways, trauma wounds and survival methods that only you will be able to identify, and maybe with people that genuinely love you and are willing to cut through your ego and your surface level self, they'll be able to help you balance these energies out. In men, it's harder to get men to tell the truth. Here's what I mean by that. To tell the truth as to what's really bothering you. Most men have a hard time even being able to zoom in to a close enough level to go, I'm not really mad about this. I seem like I'm really mad about this, but I'm not mad about this. I'm emotional in a way that I've only let myself get so comfortable in my emotions, and once I reach this point, I shut it off. I drink, I yell, I do whatever. And remember, things like yelling, this is all a projection to say, get away from me. Run from me. Escape from the madness that I'm also trying to escape from, which is all these crazy feelings that I don't know how to deal with. That's all we're really trying to do. Now, where people got upset on TikTok is they took offense, funny enough, to my attack on alcohol. I figured that was going to come. People get awful defensive about alcohol. They say that me calling beer feminine is toxic. It's not. Because I'm not calling the substance of beer itself toxic or feminine. I'm calling it feminine when you have a bunch of feelings that you don't know how to deal with and you run to something for comfort, like a child runs to their nurturing mother. Or in 2021, thanks to things like balancing of divine masculine and divine feminine energies, children are now able to run to their fathers as well and go, Dad, I'm sad about this. And instead of the dad going rub some dirt on it, get back out there, Dad will go, well, why are you sad about that? What makes you sad about that? What is there another way we can look at this? Maybe that's not what this person meant. And being in more connection with self, with the unity of who you are, taking all your life lessons and all your life observations and being able to intertwine them with emotional support in the backbone of stability. And you can call that divine masculine, divine feminine. You can call it just like I did. Emotional support, stability, whatever. Call it whatever you want. But it's the balance within us all that brings out the best in us. And we're all starting to realize that. We're realizing that you can't, everything's not so black and white. We don't all look one way and act one way. All dudes with beards, let's be more specific, we're in 2021. All white dudes with beards and tattoos aren't, hardened assholes who just are meatheads. Some of us just really, really like talking about our feelings all the time. And that way to help other people who may also not understand their feelings and know how to process them in their life. Right? And then there's some dudes who are big and they're, type A personalities, real tough to deal with. It happens. You have women that, can work on a car and MMA fight and do all this crazy shit better than I can or any other big brute man out there. There's such a spectrum on this. But let me point something out to you. Look at the greatness in our lives. People like Prince always stand out to me. Prince was an icon. A global icon. Why? Man, sang like an angel, but dressed like a woman. But women thought he was the sexiest thing in the world. Why? He was in touch with his feminine side. He wore the purple, and Prince was a sex symbol to people. One of the most in touch with his feminine ever. But you weren't going to punk him. He was a man in his own right, you know? And there was a lot of people like that. Look at Kurt Cobain. Look at so many actors, artists, musicians that you see them and they fall out of balance so often in their lives, and they struggle with things like alcohol and drugs and dealing with the strong emotions that they battle. But it's in the recognition of those battles that we connect with their art, and then we hopefully improve ourselves. Where we go, I connect with that soul and that battle that soul is going through. Let me connect to it and look up to that person. That's why we often look up to celebrities, because we go, they got so far in life and they've struggled just like I struggled. Well, how did you get over that? Some of them don't. And some of them, bask in the glory of toxic behavior. And that's what gets them attention, because guess what? That's easy to do. Just like I talked about a few minutes ago with the bullshit artists that, claim they can tell you your future or tell you if somebody's coming back into your life for just a quick price to pay and a subscription and the like. And that stuff is so wrong. It's so wrong. I can't get past the fact that, and I felt this when I was in church, when I was, identified as a Southern Baptist or non-denominational Christian. I remember listening to the message that was given at church, right? Which is, Jesus and God is within us all, and we have him in us and we can pray to him. But for some reason, these other people are more qualified to tell me about my relationship with him than me. Okay? Understood. I don't understand, but next. Then you go to the spiritual community and you go, all the power is within you. You have to do the inner work, the inner healing, but only if you pay me this or listen to my reading or tap into my channeling will you really get the answers that you seek. Well, that sounds like an oxymoron, and that oxymoron only serves you and your ego. Now, I'm not saying you can't make money. I'm not saying you can't make money in being of service. But I don't believe anywhere in this spiritual journey that anyone should be guaranteeing anyone answers. Unless you're willing to do the work inside of yourself every second of every day, which I don't think any human being is going to be perfect at. I don't think there's any promises for you. And the beauty of life is in the unknown. I believe that that's where our creation is. They call it the 0 point. The 0 point of time is where, you're not in the future, you're not in the past, you're in the 0 point. And all you're doing is using your mind to imagine what could be coming or what happened a second ago. And that's the moment of creation where we live, where the energy that lives within us, that make up the molecules in us, are receiving energy from around you. That's feeding off the energy you're putting out, because you're getting into certain frequencies that allow you to operate and then go out and experience the world you live in. And if you're so terribly out of balance and you're tapped into all these toxic frequencies, then you go to social media sites and you look to troll things like videos of people trying to bring awareness to, inner healing and inner health. And that stuff is just, you see it for what it is. If you're out to, start a fight and you just want more comments in your thing, sure. Go tear them apart and be mean to them. But if you're trying to actually live a balanced life and not get involved in ego battles and my status as someone on TikTok is more important than your need to feel heard, even if you're not right now, well, that's fine. Go ahead. Because I'm not so far in my own toxic masculine where my ego is stricken enough to go, well, let me tell you what I think about you, you piece. It's exhausting. That's a lot of energy, I have a lot of energy that had I done that, I don't think I'd have the energy to do this today. It's dark, it's gray, it's cloudy outside. Everyone's kind of, But it's a good day. It's a good day when you choose to tap into the good sides of things and the way that things work out for the best, Keep working on balancing out life. Keep looking for the triggers within you that make you act out of balance when you're too high or too low. When you're acting like you don't need anyone or anything, find out what makes you feel that way. You're trying to live in a survival mode that you've gotten used to. And with that, guys, know how much I love you. I love you so very much, and we will check in with you next week.